Good morning, I'm Brian, and this is
Tyler.
And you know that it must be morning because I'm drinking a cup of coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wait, that would prove nothing, would it?
No. Especially not with daylight savings time. There's no telling what time it is outside anymore.
That's very true. That's very true. All right, well, we are in the Gospel of Mark, chapter 15. We are moving towards the crucifixion, and it's beneficial to look at the crucifixion's accountants and let each one stand on their own. And so today we're going to be in Mark 15, 1 through 14, Tyler.
Immediately in the morning, the chief priests held a consultation with the elders and scribes and the whole council, and they bound Jesus, led him away, and delivered him to Pilate. Then Pilate asked him, "Are you the king of the Jews?" He answered and said to him, "It is as you say." And the chief priests accused him of many things, but he answered nothing. Then Pilate asked him again, saying, "Do you answer nothing? See how many things they testify against you." But Jesus still answered nothing, so that Pilate marveled. Now at the feast he was accustomed to releasing one prisoner to them, whomever they requested. And there was one named Barabbas, who was chained with his fellow rebels. They had committed murder in the rebellion. And the multitude, crying aloud, began to ask him to do just as he had always done for them. But Pilate answered them, saying, "Do you want me to release to you the king of the Jews?" For he knew that the chief priests had handed him over because of envy. But the chief priests stirred up the crowd so that he should rather release Barabbas to them. Pilate answered and said to them again, "What then would you want me to do with him whom you call the king of the Jews?" So they cried out again, "Crucify him." Then Pilate said to them, "Why? What evil has he done?" But they cried out all the more, "Crucify him."
All right. So this is very likely probably between 6 and 7 in the morning. The exact times on some of this are a little bit hard to pin down, but they had to have the meeting in the morning with the whole council, and everyone else had to be at least, daylight. So it is still fairly early. And it's an interesting thing. Pilate wants to know, are you the king of the Jews? In the region, who was the last Roman recognized king of the Jews?
Herod, right?
Yeah, Herod. So this designation, king of the Jews, Herod had held it. And Matthew's gospel, the Magi come and they say, "Where is the one who's born king of the Jews?" Not appointed by Rome and not taken it by force of arms in that sense. But as a king goes, David and Solomon are centuries before Rome really starts its rise on the Tiber. So from a standpoint of world history, that concept is valid, and Pilate knows the Jews are always borderline insurrection, and so when he asks the question in Pilate's, Jesus' answer to Pilate is, "It is as you say," or "You said it." But what's the interesting thing there that you notice with verses 4 and 5, Tyler, and why do you think it's important that we can learn from this?
Pilate marvels, and not just the fact that Pilate marvels at this not quite random Jew, but this Jew who's being brought before him stupid early in the morning. And unlike most people who are trying to get out of whatever sentence is about to come their way, Jesus isn't making up every excuse and not saying, "I didn't do it, I didn't do it, I didn't do it." His answer is, "It is as you say," and that's it, and that's all. Jesus doesn't allow anything else, at least not for a bit before we have the discussion where Pilate asks him 50 billion questions later.
Yeah.
And when Pilate and him talk about truth in, which gospel is that, Luke?
Yeah, it's John, yeah.
Or John, yeah.
And staying with that, as we said on Sunday in Bible class, Jesus, and even the Sunday morning sermon, Jesus always acknowledges the truth, and Jesus never allows lies to stand in his presence. The moment that Pilate said, "Are you the king of the Jews?" Jesus said, "Yep." He said, "Well, then why wouldn't he deny everything else they've said?" since the Jews were the ones who gave Pilate the words, right? The moment Jesus says, yeah, that's what I am, there is no need for him to deny everything else, because the simple fact is, if he is what he says he is, as the king of the Jews, most all the rest of their accusations should be understood to be lies. And any other accusations that they might make that are true from the scripture or anything else only support the claim that he's the king of the Jews. And so Jesus doesn't engage once he affirms his identity, his mission, and his Father. For the most part, Jesus doesn't engage in their nonsense. And there's a valid point to this. The people that hate your guts, they really don't care what the facts are. And the people who are stuck in the middle, yeah, you might be able to. And if we eliminate the prophecy aspect, that it has to happen during this time, could Jesus have talked his way out of this with Pilate?
Probably.
Yeah. Right. Super easy. Because even Pilate's like, dude, I really want to let you go, but I got to beat up somebody today. That's my job as a politician. He could have. But where would he have been in another week or another month? He'd have been right back here. And then, and notice verse 10. Pilate's not stupid. The number of people, I don't know if you've heard lessons over the years, Pilate wasn't a very wise. The dude was smart. He was just not very high on Caesar's happy list. You didn't get sent to Judea except for two reasons. Either to prove yourself or to prove yourself. You're early in your career. Hey, if you can make it work out there, we'll give you one of the nice places. Or you done messed up over here, and before we kick you to the curb, we're going to send you to what we call the toilet of our empire. And if you can clean that toilet bowl, we'll let you back to a better place. Now, historically, you know what happened with Pilate?
Isn't he out of here within a couple of years?
He is. And his life just keeps getting worse. And someone, that's because he killed Jesus. No, he didn't. From a Roman standard, he didn't do a good job running this province, and his life goes down. And notice Pilate's confession. What then shall I do to him whom you call the King of the Jews? He doesn't argue that Jesus might very well be the King of the Jews. He says, that would make him y'all's king, so what do you want me to do to your king? And people have said that it was only the leaders. The people loved Jesus. It was only the leaders who were bad. If you look at how America has done things since you were a child, Tyler, we have gone to different places in the world where their leaders are bad, and we've still engaged in actions that bring suffering and misery to the common people. If it's just about taking out the leaders, no. Generally, bad leaders come from where?
Bad countries?
Bad people. Very seldom does a shepherd rise out of a sheep that's better than his sheep. And then, and here's the other thing. How many of those people who were shouting, crucify him, that either they or someone in their family had received a miracle from Jesus? At least 1 in every 10, just statistically. So, just some interesting stuff. Some other thoughts on this passage.
No, sir.
All right, with that, I'm Brian, and this is
Tyler.
Tell him to have a good day, Tyler.
Have a good day, and we'll see you tomorrow.